knowledge of many things that we don't know. So we are going to dig deep. We're going to dive deep. Can you perhaps just educate us a bit about our tradition and our customs that celebrate young girls, such as umhlonyane, and such as Memulo, and what they mean to us as young women here today?
Okay. Every young girl will go through different stages in her life. When a girl reaches puberty, there's what we call umhlonyane. Umhlonyane is for girls when they start menstruating. And umhlonyane is a herb, actually. This was named, the ceremony was named after the herb that is used for girls. This herb is it's a herb that it assists women during that time. I cannot go further, but umhlonyane you've also been using during COVID, but it assists during menstruation, no menstruation pains and everything. And then the girl will reach another stage in life. Umeseqala eba itshitshi, and then depending on the family that she is coming from, if the father is wealthy, I must say this, umemulo is not compulsory, but umhlonyane is compulsory for every young girl when she reaches puberty. But umemulo, it used to be for the wealthy men with a lot of cattle. They will thank their daughters that you have behaved well. Now you are ready to become a wife if you find someone to marry you. Therefore, that is why umemulo, they use a cow, and umhlonyana, they use a goat.
So siyafunda namhlanje ukuthi kunamasiko kunemkhuba. Kunezinto ezenzayo because zenziwe endaweni, but also kunezinto that celebrate who we are as women. You know, and I think that's the one thing that stood out to me, particularly about culture, is that it can be used as a way, and there are certain things in our culture that celebrate our womanness, you know, that celebrate the fact that we're different, that celebrate that we go through these things. They're not dirty things, they're not things to be embarrassed about, but they are things that we ought to celebrate, you know. And so it's important to know that what our culture says about us as we grow, as we change, as we evolve. And again, one thing about us as women, we are definitely celebrated more than the men in our family. I'll tell you about that because mina sengayengenzela umhlonyane ekhaya, sengayengenzela umemulo ekhaya, and I was always the VIP, not my male cousins. So it's important to be able to appreciate the things that are good about our culture, and take from them and take them out to society to say that, look, this is who we are and this is our identity. And our identity is progressive, you know. I'm going to, at this point in time, just before I allow you to leave, I'm going to, you've spoken about the Zulu nation, we've spoken about women in the Zulu nation. I'd just like to pose a bit of a personal question to you. You've taken a path in your own life that upholds and seeks to play the role of being a custodian of culture. How would you like us leaving this room today to view the Zulu nation and to view culture and the arts as a way that we can not only preserve society but transform society? What lessons, as a senior lecturer, are you hoping to impart now that you've got us, we're your students? What is it that you'd like us to take home about something that you have invested? A PhD is no child's play. A PhD is no child's play. I'm sure that anyone who knows anyone who has studied, they will tell you that education is an alienating journey. It is a very lonely journey. It pulls you away from your family. It pulls you away from your loved ones. It keeps you behind a laptop up until you wear glasses, not because you like to, but because you have to. So for you to persevere so much through this path, uze uthole leziqu onazo, ijazi elibomvu, it's no child's play, guys. It's no child's play. Why this path, and what would you like to impart on us, particularly being someone who's dedicated herself to this path?
Oh, well, I decided about ijazi elibomvu. I decided to do my research, of course, because history yamaZulu was distorted. So there is quite a lot of stories that were told that were wrong. So I started to talk to the local elders, and I realized that no, these distortions must come to an end. So one must do proper research on Ukzn and Amakhosi KwaZulu, right? That's number one. So the message from me is that we have different cultures. UKZN is a multicultural society. There are different cultures. We need to embrace one another. It's my culture, it's your culture, it's our different cultures, but it's one university. So we need to respect one another and understand each and every other person's culture, because culture goes with language and identity. So one cannot lose his or her identity at the expense of another person's culture and identity. That's all.
Thank you. Please, let's put together a round of applause.
Away.
I told you, it's cream water, sweet water namhlanje. I'll take this opportunity. I'm going to hijack the program for 2 seconds here. I'm going to allow questions directed to Udokotela. Comments, clarities, a lot has been said. So I'm going to allow just 3 hands of people who can come forward. I'm very strict with time because I'm a chefing dish. So kumele siphinde siphuthwe isikhathi sama-chefing dish lapha ngemuva ngiwabonile ayacwebezela. So I'm going to take some hands, just 3 sets of hands. Thank you. You may come forward. Another hand. No, that's what I'm saying. Please come forward. Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much for your opportunity. My name is Ntokozo. Dr. Koko, thank you so much for enlightening us. But can you briefly speak on the issue of GBV, and also how is culture able to kind of like bring an end to this sketch by encouraging men to continue respecting women? Because we don't hear much from traditional leaders, speaking against GBV. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to allow another hand. My beautiful lady there in the white. Okay, thanks. Thank you. You can stand up. Yes. Okay. So can I get a mic for my question? There she is. You may stand up, Sissy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mazibuko. That was very insightful. Today, I've learned that most of the powerful women was not married. But today, if you are not married, you are labeled. And what can you say about that? Because in most cases, if you're not married, they think there's something wrong with you, there's this and that. And what can you say about that? Thank you.
Thank you. And then my last hand, my lady, oh, there's a lady behind you with the black hat. I'm going to allow her ngoba ngimbone kuqala. Mhlawumbe ngizokusquaplishisa now. Ntshisi.
Greetings. So, for me, Doc, I just want to know, ukhulume ngendaba yomhlonyane nomemulo. Usually, kuhlala kunama questions amaningi asala elenga when it comes to that. Ngiyengizwe kuthiwa abanye bethi awushadi uma ungakaze wenzele umhlonyane. But now, awenzelwanga umhlonyane ngalesa sikhathi kade ungena kuma periods. Kwenzakalani ke usubile nengane, usubheka ukuyoshada, ususidlulile kahle kahle isigaba sokuthi wenzele umhlonyane. So kuye kwenzakaleni to that part. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions. Nonkululeko, when the king made his first speech to the nation, he said to the nation he is going to address all the social ills, including the GBV. So because he has just started, let us give him a chance and see what programs are in place for him to address such issues. The second question, for women who are not married being labeled. I just want to talk briefly about the ceremony that was revived by the late Regent Queen Mantombi Zulu, Umkhosi wesivivane. She decided that because the maidens, they belong to the reed dance, then there are women who are not married, women who have divorced, there are married women. Then she decided that Umkhosi wesivivane is for all women who do not fit in the category of being maidens. In that way, every woman was welcomed. Emkhosini wesivivane. It used to take place in August, but the last one that we had was in 2019, just before COVID. So every woman was welcome there. In that way, I'm trying to address the issue that with AmaZulu, there's no one who is left on the side just because you are not married, you have a child, you don't belong to the girls, you are a divorcee. But Isivivane caters for everyone. And the last question on umhlonyane and umemulo. It's the coming of age. Umhlonyane is performed at that time, during that period. You cannot have umhlonyane with your 4 children and then you say, now you need to have umhlonyane. It's the coming of age. We might be confused by the abantu ababonayo and ningixolele mabe khona ababonayo bethi the reason why you are not getting married is because you never had umhlonyane. And then we have oh boy, no girl, and then you have umhlonyane. No, it doesn't work that way. It's the coming of age. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dokotela. Dokotela akafuni ukuhlala kule tulo lezi. Hambaleka. Angibalekela. Thank you so much. I think one thing that I've really been inspired by, and the one thing I've taken away is that as women we can be custodians of history. You know, we can reflect on important times that go on in our history, and speak with such authority and speak with such understanding. You know, I'm tempted to say that had it been a man who had invited here today, they would not have been able to narrate it to us in a way that we would be inspired to be like these women. You know, Queen Nandi, Umtania, Umkabai, these are inspiring women who we can all extrapolate lessons from. But as we did talk, we are here to have a good time. We're still together, we're still here. Let's continue with our program. I would like to call forth again the Red Lights Choir. Astelanga. Astelanga. Let's put our hands together for the Red Lights Choir. Let's put our hands together for the Red Lights Choir.
people, open your eyes and answer the call of the drum. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel has come. Maputo, Maputo, home of the brave, our nation will soon be as one. Frelimo, Frelimo, Samora Machel, Samora Machel as one. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua. Hey, Mozambique, a luta continua. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua. And to those who have given their lives, praises to thee, husbands and wives, all thy children shall reap what you've sown. This continent is home. My brothers and sisters, stand up and sing. Eduardo Mondlane is not gone. Frelimo, Frelimo, your eternal flame has shown us the light of dawn. Oh, Mozambique, a luta continua. In Angola, mama, a luta continua. In Zambia, a luta continua. In Zimbabwe, mama, a luta continua. Oh, in Botswana, mama, a luta continua. And in South Africa, a luta continua.
Let's give them a round of applause. Wow. Siyabonga, Red Light Choir. You know, the way that you've chosen your songs today, you've just chosen the most inspiring songs. I think songs sung by powerful women as well, songs about powerful women. And it just keeps to the theme in such an amazing way. We all know Mam Miriam Makeba and her beautiful song that they just sang for us, that spoke about how the struggle was universal, and it involved everyone, and it wasn't just for us in our corners. So I think even today it reminds us that the struggle continues, a luta continua, and it's a universal struggle for women's rights, and all of us ought to be involved. So thank you, Red Lights Choir, thought-provoking indeed. The next speaker we have today, I've heard her speak before, and the whole time I was watching her and listening to her, I was like, how do you do all of that as one human being? How have you achieved so much? How have you broken such barriers? And how do you continue to shatter the ceiling and just keep going? You know, so I'm not going to say much in terms of introducing her because I want her to speak to you about who she is, what she's about. But I think the one thing that has always stood out whenever I've listened to her speak is the fact that she really owns who she is, her identity, where she comes from. Not for a second will you miss out on her telling you, Uguti, you know, leave. So, as we speak today and as she speaks to us about embracing change whilst preserving cultural and traditional norms, a UKZN alumnus, a philanthropist, a businesswoman, and a PhD candidate. Still nama red jackets, namhlanje sigodoli. Ms. Thandi Mathabete Ngcongo. Please may I ask you to clap your hands as she comes forward to the stage. Sawubona.
Sawubona. Dr. Mangeti.
Oh, Dokotela. I'll just ask you to introduce yourself to the house, tell people who you are and where you're from, and we'll take it from there with the conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I do the greetings, guys, kwaze kwanzima i-pressure yokuhlala nodokotela. Suka omunye udokotela la ngi-interview omunye udokotela, guys. Nayizwa kodwa le pressure ngihleli phe kwayo. Inzima. Okay, ngicela ukubingelela. I observe the protocol. Ngibingelele egameni elihle leNkosi yethu Jesu Kristu. Amen. Igama lami nguThandi, nguMathabethe. Ngumachonco ke futhi because ngingane yakomalume. Sengowa kaNgcongo ke manje. I come from Imoy River. As you say, I always pride myself that I'm a deep rural Zulu girl who now lives in the city. I'm not a city girl at all. I came to Durban to study, just like most of us in this room here. And I found a home in Durban in terms of working in the corporate space. And I decided to then start my own business. I left corporate. I'm now running my own businesses, including in those business portfolios is OPP Mo Road, Igarage Lo Dumo lapha Bria Center. Yeah, so that is who I am. I am a wife to one husband. Umensisi wakanqongo, and we are blessed with children, both male and female, that we have. Thanks.
So some of the older people in the room might not know, but here in Durban in particular, there is a cultural hotspot that is the BP Garage in Moore Road. It's a part of who our culture is as young people in Durban. You get there, you have your fries with their spice akona, nama wings akona, and you'll eat them in the Uber with your eyes closed as you're going home. It's a rite of passage. The university students know it, and it keeps us going. We've all passed that direction, so it's a part of who we are. It's a culture. This here is the owner of that garage. This here is the owner of that garage. By profession, Sis Thandi, you're an engineer. But there are so many things that you do, not just in the space of engineering. I think the petroleum business is definitely a male-dominated space. I was listening to SAFM when I was driving from Richards Bay down to here, and they were speaking to a lady who was the first chair of, I believe it was the mining board. And she was speaking about how the sector, much like your sector, is male dominated. And whilst you may be a woman in the room, you're one of few. How then have you been able to navigate coming from being in management and being under men? Have you come to sit at the table? You know, you're right at the table with BP Moore Road. That's our space. We love that space very much. So when we say you are at the forefront, what has that journey been like for you?
Dr. Mangete, I think for me, growing up in the farm with my grandparents, I watched my grandmother influence change within the community, Yasemoy River, Emidres. And I still believe that if my grandmother was not there supporting my grandfather, who was an evangelist, a lot of liberation would not have taken place. There is now a fully fledged primary school, which she started as a Bible school for the women around the community to understand, to read the Bible and read the hymn book, which is now a fully fledged primary school. So I grew up in that environment, understanding how we as women can be influential to forge changes in the spaces that we are in. I live with 5, I'm just going to mention 5 values that I remember growing up. Umkhulu nogogo bezisho kuthina besikhulisa as abazukulu. And in line with what you were saying, respect, humility, hardworking, unity, and resilience. I think those are the values really that I took from my grandparents while I was growing up, because coming from the farm, I knew that I want to be an engineer, but I did not even know what an engineering day looks like. You know, when you are in the farm, you just don't know. We didn't have any information available to us or at our disposal. I did that because I knew that I need to work hard, with or without my parents in front of me. I excelled in that, which is what I always try to share with the younger generation of girls that comes behind us, that when you are given any opportunity, you must excel in it, because somebody is watching and somebody can see the influence that you bring in whichever space that you are given. So before I even completed chemical engineering, I was already spotted to join one of the petroleum companies here in Durban. That's how I got employment, because I was excelling at school. I did not do the CV, but because I was excelling at university, the first university that I started when I came to Durban. I did not stop. After getting the job, I did not stop to study, because that's how I grew up. I grew up gogo ethi funeka nifunde nigogode. I actually don't know, because I'm going to be graduating my PhD here in UKZN in the next graduation. So I don't know whether ugogoda in loko. My grandparents have passed on, so but I think that I've made them proud, you see, because I've worked so hard in terms of liberating myself through education, because as Black community, the only way we can change spaces is when we liberate ourselves. We don't have much inheritance, we don't have wealth, but we can liberate ourselves to create wealth for the generation to come. So I grew up in the male-dominated industry, which is petroleum sector, as an engineer. I remember when I joined the refinery, it was only the 2 of us, 2 girls in the whole department of engineering. It was only 2 girls. And I offered myself to be a mentor at a very young age, or very early in my career, because I saw the opportunity to mentor other girls that come behind me in the engineering space, because it can be very cold in the engineering space. You see, it's a lot of work, and young girls do need mentors in that space. So when I grew in the corporate ladder, getting exposed to different businesses within the petroleum sector, I developed passion for petroleum retailing, okubizwa ke ngokuthi ama-garage. And I qualified, I ticked all the boxes. The only box that I did not tick was money, because you need what they call unencumbered cash to penetrate through this industry here. But because there was a value of resilience that I learned from my grandparents. You see, I did not back up to say, I don't have 20% of the millions that this garage worth, but I put a plan together, you see, because one of the things that I would like to share with the audience is that if if there's a vision that has been put in your heart, no matter how scary that vision is. I mean, as a young girl, owning a garage, owning a garage, you know, no matter how scary the vision is in your heart, put a plan together to fulfill that vision. I put a 5-year plan together, so that a 5-year plan of how I'm going to save money so that I can have the money that is required. Second, in my plan was to go back to school and do my MBA. I registered with UKZN. My MBA was influenced by the fact that I want to own a garage. I always share that we do not go to school to get a certificate. Those days are gone. We go to school to absorb as much knowledge as we can. We go to school to network. That's the reason why we go to school. Because we are united as black people. I mean, we learn from each other, we help each other, we support each other. So I registered my MBA purely so that I can speak with all the women that are owning garages in KZN. And at the time, it was only 4% of women, the whole KZN, 4% of women owning garages. That was 11 in total. So I made appointments with all of them just to understand how did they penetrate through, and what challenges did they face, and how did they overcome those challenges. I'm sure if you go to UKZN libraries, you can find my study there. Because one of the reasons I chose that as well is to expose the industry to an ordinary woman in KZN, so that you can find knowledge if you want to tap into this space here. So you see now, I was ready after 5 years. I was ready in terms of money. I had accumulated. You know, I downgraded my lifestyle so that I can live on 60% of my salary. 40% was going straight to savings. You see, I started small. I started Tandi's Kitchen, which is a little eatery that is in Umbilo, so that all the profits that are made in that little restaurant goes to savings. That's how we can accumulate funds if we want to penetrate through key economic businesses. When BP Mall Road was advertised, I was ready. Very important that we get ourselves ready. When the opportunity comes, we must be ready. So when it was advertised, I put on an application. I did my own business plan, which is one of the learnings that I always share. If you want a business, obviously you're going to need a business plan. I do not recommend that we outsource our business plans. You know, do your own business plan. The whole 45 pages of the business plan of BP Mall Road, I did on my own, my farm, because it's what I can sell to the panel when I'm being interviewed. It does not add value that you have a business plan that has high polished English, but you can't even sell it. See, so do your own business plan with your own understanding so that you can be able to present it. And I always say that if you pick my CV or my business plan out of a pack of 100, you are done. Because then when you call me for an interview, I'm going to be able to tell you what value will you get to partnering with me, which is something that we all need to learn. When you are given a space, make sure that you understand the value that you bring on the table. I don't support putting women in front just because of transformation, but we must be put there because there's value that we bring on the table. So those are the values that I kept from a very young age. that are rooted to tradition and culture that has brought me to where I am today. Thank you.
Wow. I told you, sbophele la. Ukrim kuphela ulwethu. You know, I'm going to take you back. You said a mouthful, and I think we're going to pick at it quite a bit because I feel like each and every one of us will be able to learn from these experiences. Whether you have unesfasi or whether you have a salary, you know that the current economy does not allow you to have one stream of income anymore. The cost of living is high, and we're learning some valuable lessons namhlanje from Mrs. Tandi about how if you invest in yourself and you see yourself as the businessman, you will become a businesswoman, you know. And so we're gonna go back a bit before we come forward. Growing up in a community that is rural, you speak of a woman in your life who seems like a community leader. And that was not something that was common or celebrated at the time. A lot goes into being a woman day in and day out, but even more so goes into being a woman that influences society, particularly in the streams of education. You've shared some of the values that your grandparents collectively have taught you, but if your grandmother were sitting in that chair next to us, what do you think she'd have to say to these young women sitting here who have now gotten the opportunity to get an education in terms of the things that she stood for? What has she taught you that has made you the woman that you are? And most importantly, coming from the environment that she did, she was not exposed, I'm certain, to the same pressures that you're exposed to today as a woman. She's not exposed to the same fast-paced lifestyle, but still those lessons carry on and they hold value, you know. They're from a different time, they're from a different era, but they're still valuable. What is it that you'd like to impart to the ladies here today that speaks to how what was a norm to you, what was a way of life for you is still relevant today for them?
So what I can share is that, you know, I always have a dream of all the women in South Africa waking up every day to do what they are passionate about. You see, if you can just think about that, if all of us were waking up every day doing what we are passionate about, you see, we don't go to work just because we need to pay our bills, but we go to work because it's something that we love doing. That's what I would like to challenge all of us on. My grandmother was passionate about education. There were barriers, just like I'm experiencing different barriers of entry to male-dominated industry. The barriers for them was land. You know, now you guys are here, you're trying to liberate this community. First thing, Abelungu, you know, who were in the rural area there, did not like liberation, you know, because all these people in this community work for them. Now when amasuzobafundisa bazovuleka amehlo and see, you see. So even the school today, some of the guys know who've been in my home, it's inside my grandparents' yard, because Abelungu did not give them land to build the school. But did she stop because of that? She did not stop. The school is inside my grandparents' yard, and today it's a fully fledged government school. So, so what I'm trying to share with you guys is that there will always be barriers, especially to us as black women. There will always be barriers, but do we stop? I think that's what determines a woman who's resilient from umuntu wesifazane oyivila. You know, I remember ugogo wayethi intombazana ayilali kuze kuphume ilanga. Ayilali kuze kuphume ilanga. Umkhulu wayejwayele ulayini othi enana ayikho inkomo yobuthongo. You know, and at the time kuyisicefe because sifuna ukulala, but they were preparing us for today. There's no way I can run 4 portfolios of businesses if bengiyivila. Uyabona? So I would like to share with you guys that let's not allow any barrier to stop pushing our vision. Whatever that we need to do, whatever that has been planted in our hearts as a vision, as fohlen, I always say that on my social media, siyafohla.
Wow. Wow. Can we please give her a hand? Please, man. Hi. You know, Mrs. Tandy spoke about mentorship. She spoke about being in an industry whereby when you walked into the room, it was yourself and only one other woman. You run a foundation called Uthandekile Foundation. I know about it because I've heard you speak. But can you please share with the room today what Uthandekile Foundation is, the work that it does, and perhaps how others can get plugged into the foundation because it does such an important job? Can we just please, for a second, we'll continue with our program. Ngicela sisukume sonke, samukele uNdlunkulu. Oh, okay, it's where we can sit. We were practicing, let's practice. Let's practice. Mele mayisengena sifice sesiredi. We can have a seat. We can have a seat for now. Bengisan-check nje ukuthi niwatch. Niwatch. Hayi, asithi dlengelele. All right.
Yes. Dr. Mangete, thank you for that. I think that anyone who grew up in a underprivileged community will never want to then do nothing about that when they are at a certain level of life. I am not where I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I am. And I believe that I need to then give back to the community, primarily where I come from, but I include other communities. Because if we go to, I always say, go team, I'm a first black female. What are you doing about it? You know, that's the question. What do you do if you're a first black female? That's the reason why I started Uthandekile Foundation. Primarily focusing on rural areas because I know how difficult it is to get information when you are in the rural area. So I forge or I collaborate with even UKZN, you know, with universities to take information back to.
Can I ask that we all stand, please? We're ready now. Can we please put a hand together as we welcome uNdlunkulu, Ntokozo Mayisela, Umakasol Ndlunkulu. Thank you. Sorry about that. So we're just going to wrap up our conversation with Mrs. Sandy, but we were speaking towards Uthandekile Foundation and the work that she does with Uthandekile Foundation. So we're going to allow you to continue, Mrs. Sandy.
Okay, ngibingelele to uNdlunkulu or Ntokozo Mayisela. Yes, so I was just saying that because of that, my foundation focuses more on taking information back to rural schools, especially grade 11 and grade 12s, to make sure that they are ready in terms of careers that they are choosing and in terms of life after high school. So that's the primary one. And I collaborate with different entities, including UKZN and including other corporate companies to make sure that the impact is wider. Just next month, which is my birthday, I always do something on my birthday, which is in September. So we'll be going back to one of the rural schools again to donate uniform and sports kits in collaboration with Hollywood Bets. So it's really just a platform for me to give back to community and also to forge mentors and mentorship. I said that it's important that we get mentors So whatever space that you wanna go to, whether in corporate or in business, get a mentor, get a person who's already there and ask questions. And as you do that, become a mentor to those that follow behind you. My hashtag that I always use in my social media spaces is that we lift as we rise. So don't wait to be at the top before you can take other people. Take one step forward, look back, take another person. One step forward, look back, take another person.
Thank you. These words we get today, we are sitting with the KZN top woman in business, mind you. That is some of the titles attributed. I've been saying that I can't just give you her profile. This lady's profile is dynamic. Standard Bank honored her here in KZN as amongst the top women in business. And some of these principles that she's been sharing with us namhlanje, asicacisele ukuthi exactly why. You know, women at the top don't sit at the top because they're there by themselves and they've isolated other women. They sit there because they bring an army with them, you know. And I think the one thing I'm learning from you, Sis Thandi, ukuthi, if you want to make it, you need to make it with people like you, with the same agenda as you, and have them surrounding you. The space at the top is for all women. Thank you so much. Just as we close, I'm just going to give you one last opportunity. Anything that you'd like to share with all these women here today?
Just one thing for me, let's not underestimate the power of influence that we have. But obviously we cannot influence if we are not empowered ourselves. So let's invest on personal development so that when we sit on the tables, we bring full value. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I please have a big round of applause for Sis Thandi? Thank you. So, today we're here to learn. Today we are here to learn siyakhulisana. Formally, I'd like to welcome uNdlunkulu Siyabonga for joining us. Thank you for gracing our program. Wasinika isidima kakhulu. Sabantu abakhulu nathi sihleli nawe. Siyabonga. So before I'd called her up, there were a few things that I didn't mention. Because UKZN is inspiring greatness, yes. I keep telling you, inspiring greatness in this institution, we don't play. Ulusi Umbali, we had called her up earlier on, is currently in the running for the SATMA Awards in 2022. The SATMA Awards, they are the South African Traditional Music Achievement Awards. Now, that is a space whereby si celebrata amasiko ethu, si celebrata ubuntu, and all the things that make us us. And today she's representing us as an institution in the category of Best Indigenous Poet, Artist, and Group. So we all have the opportunity to vote. At the end, I'm going to ask all of you to take out your phones at the end, and we're going to share the poster and we're all going to vote. So when you leave here, please know that everyone in this room, even the gentlemen abangamenwanga, will have voted. So, Sis Lucy, the floor is yours.
Ewe kakade, lonto into ya lonto. Thina nto zaziyo ke asothuka nganto. Kuba kakade lento ibivele ibonakele ukubiza ubanhle ibe yilonto. Ndlunkulu wasebukhosini, zinyanela koMayisela, mfazi omabela made. Wena wancelisa umntwana engaphetsheya komfula, mbonani oduma njengezulu mali yohlasela kwabasedlumdlum. Mkhanyisi wobulumko kwintsana zakwaNdaba ezitha ziphela. Inkosikazi enyathela ngesizotha ivule izamkelo isamkela bonke abaziva bengamkelekanga umama wesizwe siphela. Unozala wenkonde nemveku mthwakazi ndini ebhengeza ubuhle. Phumalanga ocela ukukhanya kwabasebumnyameni. Into esoloku ibazindlebe ifuna ukuva isililo samanina nabafana. Into esoloku ithe ntsho amakhangelo. ifuna ukubheka abaqhatshazwayo ibafaka phansi kwekhwapha layo elinuka ivumba lothando kanye nenkuthalo. Mzali nomgcini wabahlolokazi nensane ezingenayise wena osolo kungumlomo nendlebe zamakhedyana nomfundo othanda imfundo de afundise. Mzali wemveku ezintshule emaphandleni kumkanikazi ezinikele ukuba likhoboka labantu ndlunkulu wabo bonke abantu into esolo kinikezela ngothando ingakhethe bala lamntu. Ngaba ndiyaqhubeka ndityatyadule nto nje isintu sithi inkosi ayiqedwa kanjalo ke nekumkanikazi ayikaze yagqitywa ndlunkulu.
Wow. Wow. I think when I was asked to facilitate this dialogue, I was very nervous. I won't lie to you, I was very nervous. And a part of the reasons why I was nervous was because, but I then started to ask around, research, ngibuze people who have worked or have interacted with her. And they would say to me, relax, ehlisa umoya. And I think in such sophisticated words, Ulusi has been able to put together to us what she means to so many people, Undlunkulu, who she is to so many people, in such a beautiful manner. So, Ndlunkulu sokucela uze phambili. Okay. All right, we're first going to call the choir. We're going to call the red light choir, our people. Bazosinika nje umuntu. After that, we're then going to call forth Undlunkulu. Siyabonga. Can we put our hands together for the red light choir?
Ayakusizi lutho noma ngingamemeza ma noma ngingamemeza noma ngingamemeza bo ayakusizi lutho noma ngingamemeza ma noma ngingamemeza ma akusisi lutho noma ngingamemeza ma noma ngingamemeza noma ngingamemeza ma akusisi lutho
Ngimbogodo, yebo mina ngimbogodo, ngibusisiwe esifazaneni, nginawo amandla okuphilisa, nginawo amandla okuba ngumholi, nginawo amandla okuhlenga, ubuhle bamakusibo bendoda, ubuhle bami bungokamdali, noma ngingacindezela emhlabeni, ekugcineni ngizophumelela.
Oh, wow. Ngiloko ngishilo nje ngathi we are inspiring greatness. How beautiful are our things? Izinto zethu zinhle kanjani? They belong on stages such as this. There is no place where our culture needs to be hidden away. It ought to be put up and celebrated because zinhle izinto zethu. You know, thank you so much, Red Lights Choir. I'm now going to take the opportunity to introduce someone who needs no introduction. Quite honestly, someone who needs no introduction. A lady, through and through, in her actions, in her work. Today we are being joined by Ukzn Ntokozo Mayisela. She is the founder of Kamaskole Foundation, which was inspired by the Queen's late father. She is passionate about communities. She has an ear for the community as well as young boys because she believes that they too deserve to be heard. She runs a number of programs focusing on women and boys. These include the In Between Girls program, which focuses on women that are discriminated against in society. These include, these are women we know, women who have raised us, the single mothers, the divorcees, the widows, and the teenage mothers. She also runs a program focused on giving young men a voice in society. Her Royal Highness is passionate about education and creating educational opportunities for young women and men in rural communities. Her Royal Highness believes in the spirit of servitude. She is about the community, for the community, and from the community. I think just reading this profile, Maungagafika bezkhuluma about how, as this institution, we wanted to be brought to the forefront that izinto zakwaZulu are things that are progressive. The mindset that has been had about culture and tradition is not the case. I think the programs that you do and that you're going to come before us and speak to us, speak directly to that. That izinto zakwaZulu nezinto zethu are going to bring about solutions for our own people. You know, we're going to speak about raising the boy child in as much as we speak about what it means to be a girl child. We're going to be inclusive of all society and all cultures. So may I please ask everyone to stand with me as we welcome forth Undlunkulu Ntokozo Mayisela. May we please simshayele ihlombe. And before everyone else has sat down, the beautiful poem that was written today has been printed out so that you can take it home and ukhumbule ukuthi what you mean to us through the words of Ulusi. Whenever you doubt the strength that you have, know what you mean to us. Thank you.
No, ngingahlala phansi. Ukubeke ngami ngaba kukho this formal. Because I angikho this formal. Ngiyanibingelela nonke. Ungibhalele kumabhila ukuthi kufanele ngibingelele bani, but I would like to say mhlambe all protocol observed. Because sokwazi ukuthi singene endabeni. I'm too emotional. And thank you so much Siswami. Ngisakubona uphelelepi. Thank you so much. Sometimes when izinto ungayitshela ukuthi khona umuntu oyibonayo. And thank you so much for ukuthi ukubone lokho. Okanye noma ngabe umuphi komunye umuntu. But honestly, ngokwami ngisuke ngenzela uself. Ngisuke ngizenzela mina. Because ngikhule ngokuthi mina ekhaya lami yonke into oyenzayo uzenzela wena. ayikho into oyenzayo mhlawumbe uthola ukuthi wenzela omunye umuntu ngicela ungisondezele bhuti wami because noma ngisondezela sengithanda ukugqoba kakhulu no sekahle yabonga ngikhule ngokuthi yonke into oyenzayo uzenzela wena ukusiza umakhelwane usuke uzenzela wena futhi because awuzazi ukuthi ushukela umakhelana unanile namhlanje wamnikeza uzowulanda nini wena because akufani ungaba namhlanje above kusasa ungaba below so konke ngisuke ngikwenza ngisuke ngazi ukuthi ngizenzela mina ngiyilanga mhlawumbe ngizofuna ukudraw strength from the same people that I've helped when mhlawumbe I had the privilege of helping them Ntokozo ke mina ingane kamasikolo Mayisela ngakho ngithi I-foundation yami nginame after my father for so many reasons ke kodwa engeke ngidwele kuona namhlanje nguQueen kaMayisela kwabanye abangazi ngenye indlela yebo but kungijabulisa kakhulu ukuthi I was a student too la UKZN Hard College yes ngenze I-diploma in jazz and music yes oh yeah so ibibaleka kakhulu kimi bengila ngeweekend and bekufanele ukuthi ngikhansele namhlanje ukuza la but ibibalekile invite kumena sisinoma because njengabanye I can relate ekuthenini I-emblem iphinansi ibifika kumina izongitshela ukuthi ngiphasile noma ngifeyilile yabo for yona today to come and invite me it was something else for me yabo so I had to come noma ngibona ukuthi bekukuningi ku against me and sisinoma bokhona ke benginawe ngeweekend uma ngihamba ngibuyele emuva to yesterday bekunokunye like I just drove here manje kuba ngifika ngiyafika nje manje from ekhaya lami so thank you so much for ukungi-invite sisinoma it means a lot it means really a lot ukuthi ngibela namhlanje I think kuona wonke ama-invites that I've received this one means a lot and nanokuthi ningimeme for mhlawumbe kumele abantu besifazane I-discussion ende ukuthi bengitshela ukuthi bengizokuthiwa kuzobana abantu besilisa bazonga bengekho kodwa ngiyababona ke bengizokuthiwa bekho bayasebenza okay ngcono shisa amadleba avaliwe so siyabantu besifazane Nkosi yami sidila with a lot uke wachaza la our MC ukuthi I have a program here in between girls. In between girls is every woman. You are an in between girl. I am an in between girl. Every woman is an in between girl. Kunomuntu wesifazane omthola ukuthi uyi teenage mother. Usamncane kodwa futhi umama. Akasazazi ukuthi ubelong ngaphi. Ziningi izinto zakhona but I just want namhlanje ukuthi mhlawumbe sikhulumeni ngezinto eziningi nanokuthi ke mina ngikholela uNkulunkulu kakhulu I hope angi sabotage program yala ekhaya okay ukuthi uNkulunkulu umuntu uyamnikeza izinto uNkulunkulu uyakufaka ekulingweni ingakho umthandazo wakho usho ukuthi ngifake ekulingweni uyakufaka ekulingweni uyakufaka ezintweni akufaka kumoshe uyitshela wena ukuthi uyamoshakala uNkulunkulu yakha kukhona into ayakhayo ngelinye ilanga afuna ukuthi iqhakambe uNkulunkulu uyazenza izinto uyitshela ukuthi akekho kanti ukhona inkinga lento ayifakile kuwena hayi Nkosi yami Jesus Christ lento ayifakile kuwena inkulu kakhulu and uyakufuna ukuthi uyibone but awukwazi ukuyibona in your comfort zone angidinga utolika so I can speak Zulu right okay so uNkulunkulu usuke ebona ukuthi into asuke kufaka kuyona usukazi yena ukuthi yena angeke uzokwazi ukuthi uyigethe ngelimo likaThembi ngeke uzokwazi ukuthi uyigethe ukuyicomfort zone yakho ingakho ekufake ekukhiphe intweni ekufake ekhipha My late father, mhlambe why i-foundation nami ngiqale ngaye. Wake wathi ngelinye ilanga kukhona inkonzo sasikuyona. Kwakhulunywa ukuthi girls musana ukumitha, musana ukwenzani, ni wrong. Angifuni nokwazi na yonke le nto le. Wathi baba nifakela le ingane pressure yokuthi masebemithi bazenze njani bayibulaleni. Wathi bayibulaleni wathi baba okay ke mina ngikhuluma nabantu abami abala ngaphakathi. Mina ngilasiboni yakhe. Wathi ngikhuluma nabantu abamala ngaphakathi ukuthi sisi nebuke mina emehlweni. Into wrong oyoyenza ukuhamba uyolala nomfana. But okunye okwenzeka after that uNkulunkulu has taken over. Akusamayelana nawe. So I'm sorry mhlawumbe if khona abantu aba-offendayo ukuthi I don't believe in indaba zama-abortions nani. But ubaba moya ngifundisa ukuthi uNkulunkulu usuke se-take over. uNkulunkulu usuke sene-plan. That is why kuthiwa uNkulunkulu kwazi ungakabe sesiswini sikama wakho usayihlwile. Usuke uNkulunkulu esekwazi. Angithi uNkulunkulu uyadala noma siyaphikisana neBhayibheli mhlawumbe. Noma siyaphikisana sisodwa ngelinye ilanga kuthiwa siya uNkulunkulu uyasazi ngelinye ilanga hayi akasazi. uNkulunkulu kwazi ungakabi ngisho sesizalweni sikama wakho. uNkulunkulu kwazi usayihlula. uNkulunkulu uyakubusisa. Usalapho. Akubusisa ibhala iqede yonke into yakho. So uNkulunkulu is not wrong. uNkulunkulu does not make mistakes. Phela uNkulunkulu wesikhathi. uNkulunkulu ngeke asinikeze zonke izinto ngesikhathi esisuke siyifuna ngazo thina. Because uNkulunkulu wesikhathi. Ukwazile ukuthi uzoba khona and wayibhala wayiqeda incwadi yakho wenza yonke into yakho yaba ngendlela okufanele ibe ngayo. But ngesikhathi sakhe la mhlawumbe sifike sidife khona thina noNkulunkulu sonke mhlawumbe nami lapho ukuthi isikhathi sakhe sinokuthatha isikhathi eside sometimes. Kodwa isikhathi sakhe egcineni isikhathi sakhe usuka sike kwesikhathi uNkulunkulu wesikhathi ingakho ungamelanga ummonelo omunye umuntu uma ngabe uNkulunkulu embusisa. Well for abantu besifazane ke today ungammonela omunye umuntu uNkulunkulu mayembusisa because isikhathi sakhe uNkulunkulu wesikhathi and isikhathi sakhe ukuthi wayembusisile ngaleso sikhathi lesiyeza sakhe isikhathi and ihlale sifika. Inkinga iba sekuthenini ubuka so much ukuthi kwenzakalani kusisi wami njobe emuhle kangaka phambi kwami. Ubuka so much ukuthi uNkulunkulu ubusisana naye ugcina ungasibona isibusisa senzayo kuwena. Awubusa sibona mase sifikile because ubusilindele ukuthi size ngama helicopter. Kanti cha uNkulunkulu ubusisa kancane because he's a jealous God. Angithi usuke efuna ukuthi umvume intweni ezincane azenzayo. Usuke efuna umvume ukuthi uvukile ekseni. Umvume ukuthi ingane zakho idlile, ingane zakho zine uniform, ezinye ingane azina uniform. Usuke efuna umvume intweni ezincane. Kodwa ngoba ujealous akabe sakubheka ezintweni ezinkulu because awuzange umvume kulokho okuncane okade kunganasidingo. So kulona langa lokushumayela. Ngiyaxolisa ukuthi I just get overwhelmed. But ke angizwile ukuthi kunabantu kunabaculi la endlini right? Bangakuphi? We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabelani. Oba phela bafazi. We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabela. Oba phela bafazi. Okay, mhlawumbe ngididwa itafula lami leli hleli phansi mhlawumbe ngenzi ngendlela. Leli. Ansukum. We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabelani. We madoda sabela. Oba phela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabela, webafazi sabela, obaphela bafazi. Akuklaphi ngoba yimini onganifili. Hayi no kwamampela ayikabi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabela, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabela, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, wemaphana sabela, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, webafana khuzani, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, webafana khuzani, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, owebafana khuzani, obaphela bafazi. Wemadoda sabelani, wemadoda sabelani, owebafana khuzani, obaphela bafazi.
What did we say about UKZN students and inspiring greatness? Wow, wow, wow. Siyabonga kakhulu, Ntokozo. Siyabonga ngesikhathi sakho. To come and share with us, spend your time with us, share your talents with us. We appreciate it so much. A student of UKZN, please can we clap for UKZN? We are proud of this institution. Once you leave the doors of this institution, you look back and you reflect on the role that it plays in shaping you as a human. There is something different about this institution. Something that values individuality, something that embraces our individual talents, something that embraces our cultures and our traditions. That is University of KwaZulu-Natal. And for it to foster a relationship with the head of the Zulu nation, the royal household, goes to show just how much this institution is a place for transformation. I, for one, am proud to be an alumni, but I really do hope that this is a relationship that doesn't stop. It's a relationship that continues. I think for the first time, for very many of us, it's our first time being in the room with royalty. But to have them be human like us, to have them be humble like us and approachable like us, to speak on the issues that we face, issues of gender-based violence, but not only to speak on the challenges, but to tell us what it is they are doing to address these challenges. You know, I think I take seriously when you tell us that all of us have the responsibility to be in between girls. You know, to be the person standing in between for someone else who ordinarily would not have the opportunity or the voice. You know, we were talking earlier on about how as women, we have a responsibility to protect and look out for each other. And that does not only speak to the woman of something in society, but it also speaks, our ability to be human speaks on us and our ability to love those who are considered the least in society. Sibonakala kanjalo ukuthi sabantu sinobuntu. Kulula ukuthanda umuntu ophezulu. Kulula ukuthanda umuntu othe ngobani, you think of what you can gain from them. Many of you are leading where you are, and once you leave that responsibility, people will forget about you. But true love comes with loving the least in our society and protecting the least in our society. And I think that that's a message and a program that is run every day by uNdlunkulu in terms of her organizations and the foundation. When we speak to education, we talked earlier on, Ndlunkulu, about how education, former President Nelson Mandela says it's the tool that we can use to change the world. And Usis Thandi, before you arrived, spoke on how ugogo wakhe was so instrumental in starting a primary school, Emoy River, in a rural area during apartheid. And all these things coming together are telling us that the only way to liberate ourselves as women, the only way to take our space is to love education, to love to grow. Not just formal education, but the things that we don't know. Reach out and get to know. Read. We can't just read Facebook. The men in the room understand. We can't just read Facebook. We can't read Twitter and influencers only. But we must also read about the things that build our minds, so that when we enter rooms, we speak, and we speak with confidence as women. And we're taken seriously. To know why this person's a serious person, you know. So I'd like to thank you for reminding us about humility, for reminding us to be plugged into a source of faith. I think one thing about UKZN, it's very diverse in its faith. It's very diverse in welcoming all religions and all cultures. And the input here, Ndlunkulu, speaks to anyone from any faith base to plug into a source of faith. As humans, there is no way that you can go through life as an island and by yourself without a support system. It is even scientific that we are not just humans as flesh, but there is a spirit that lives within. And science supports this. There is a spirit that lives within, and we have to nurture that spirit person. And I think it's more important to us as women, because, you know, as women, whether you're a mother, whether you're a friend, whether you're a wife or a partner, we are always giving. It's in our nature. Some of you are sitting here, it's a Tuesday afternoon, you're going to eat here, you're thinking to yourself, everything about us is always thinking about how we can give to other people. So it's important, I think, what I took home, Muguti, to be plugged into something that refills us. Because at the end of the day, we are the one that fuel into society. So Nati, we have to be plugged in. Today, we are reaching the part of my chafing dish. Dish. We are going to call forth Professor Ufigile Mazibuko. Professor is going to give us a vote of thanks prior to us allowing everyone to have lunch and to continue with the festivities. We'll do the vote of thanks so that anyone who does have to steal away can do so with the official program being closed. Professor is the Interim Senior Director in the Department of Student Services. For those of you who do not know what that department is, the Department of Student Services works, it's a department I know and love very well. It's a department that has had a great deal of influence and impact into the leader that I have become today. because UKZN is an institution that nurtures and sharpens in all avenues of life. Today, we have the ladies of the SRC present today. They are supported by this department. Today, I'm proud to come back and learn that it's headed by a woman. You know, that means a lot to me. Because in 2022, we're still at a point in this institution where we count on our hands the amount of female presidents we have had in this institution. But maybe young ladies will see that the executive director is a woman. I myself belong in rooms of power, you know. So, I let strikes with my voice. I'm very loud. Claim it today. Look up and be inspired. After all, we're inspiring greatness as the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you all for respecting me. Thank you for respecting this program. Thank you for participating. Mina ngicabanga ukuthi emva kwalokhu angeke ngisabuya. NguLusanda ngowakwaZwane Sibongo, ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you. It's a very big mistake. It's a small one because it's correctable, but it was almost a very big mistake. No, we're going to take Usis Lucy. We had discussed that she has written a poem, and today she is in the running to win a Satma. So we're all going to take out our phones, and we're going to write down these details because we are going to vote for her. We are going to show how women hold up other women, how women support and uplift other women. And we are going to make sure that we put women in spaces of being at the top. We are going to do that collectively. So you're going to open up your SMSs, and you are going to write Satma 51. Satma 51 is the number that is the message we're writing. One word, Satma 51. And then the number we are sending it to, it's very easy. 49495. Satma 51 to 49495. Together, we are going to claim that award for Lucy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put our hands together for her. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Ngiyabonga mphathihlelo. Ngizocela nje ukucacisa kancane ukuthi ngiyibamba kulomnyango wabafundi, and I'm very passionate about abafundi and youth development. Ngiqale ngokubulisa uNdlunkulu wethu Queen Ntokozo Mayisela. Ngibulise abaholi babafundi abakhona phakathi kwethu namhlanje imbokodo yeSRC. Ngibulise abaholi beuniversity imbokodo ekhona phakathi kwethu. Phakathi kwethu sino Solwazi uProfessor Busi Ncama ophethe College of Health Sciences. Sino Nkosikazi uNontuthuko Mpele umholi webhange ngudla le UKZN CFO. Nonkosazane uNoma Zondo njoba beqashiwa ophethe umnyango wezokuxhumana la euniversity. Ukuntenguze kahle ke uprogram director ngesikhathi ewuchaza lo mnyango ukuthumeleni. Ngibulise bake bafunda kule university abakhona namhlanje, ngabe bamalungu alumni noma convocation. Ngibulise istaff esikhona sase university ngemkhakha yaso ehlukeneyo, ngabe abaphuma kweacademic, ngabe abaphuma kuma professional support services, ngabe abaphuma ku support services namanye neminye imikhakha ehlukahlukene. ngibulise abafundi bala eKZN ngemkhakha yabo ehlukahlukene. Ngibulise ezinye incithabuchopho ezikhona la phakathi kwethu. Ngibese ngigcina ngokubulisa hayi ngoba bebancinyana abafana banathi namhlanje insizwa nobaba ezikhona phakathi kwethu. Ngicelwe ukuba ngibonge, ekubongeni kwami ngizoqala ngibonge umphathi wale university, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the university, nethimba lakhe eliphethe i-university EMC ukuthi bawusupporte lo mcimbi. Into yabo kuyaziwa, into yabo abancincuzi makufanele basupporte izinto eziqondene nembokodo. They don't hesitate. So we siyakubonga lokho. Ngibulise umphathi hlelo, ngibonge umphathi hlelo wethu program director and facilitator for the day ngokucikoza kwakhe nendlela aphathe ngayo umcimbi Dr. Lusanda Zwane Mangethe. Ngibonge unkosazane uMathabethe Ngxoxo ngendlela asikhuthaze ngayo namazwi akhe anesigqi agxilile ukutshengisa umuntu osemncane who has foresight and insight. Ngibonge udokotela uGugulethu Mazibuko engambiza ngingananazi ngencithabuchopho ejulile mayelana nobukhosi bakwaZulu. Kuningi esikufundile, ngiyethemba usazoqhubeka. Thank you for umhabulo. Ngibonge uLucy, unkosazana uLucy Mbali, ngibonge ubuchwepheshe bakho, ukuntenguza kwakho. You are such a wordsmith, not just a wordsmith. You also are able to create a tapestry of words and intellect. Siyabonga. Ngibonge ichoir, the red lights, imbokodo encane, the centennials. Siyabonga umculo wenu bengona nje umculo, bekumculo ojulile nokuthi nicaphune abantu abanjengo kunina uMiriam Makeba ugogo, a solid performer uMiriam Makeba, and siyajabula ukuthi she's still with us through you. Ngibonge nje ne-audience ukulalela. Bese ke ngithi ngicaphuna nje mhlambe ama-point amathathu kuzo zonke le nkulumo ezibekhona namhlanje. Njoba kade sihleli silalele, one of the things engiyitholile ukuthi the songs were very telling. Amaculo kade elokhuzwa eculwa namhlanje mangabe beniwalalela ebenomyalezo. Iculo avale ngalo uNdlunkulu was very telling when it comes to abuse and how men must treat women. It was a parable with a meaning. Ngibonge ukuthi sifundile namhlanje ukuthi we need to put our culture and history in context. Kuqhamuke kakhulu lokho ngesikhathi udokotela uMazibuko ebeka udaba lakho. Ngabuye ngabona ukuthi kuningi esikufundile about adaptability and integration of values. Ukubeke kahle uMathabethe ngabe ngiyakona mangathi ngiyagoqa futhi indlela ikhaya ama-values owathola ekhaya uwaxubanise nemfundo and your life experience. That was powerful. Okunye engikubonile okuvelile namhlanje is about coexistence. Mangibheka la endlini, we are from different generations, but akukho engathi each generation enye ayisifundisanga. Ngifunde okuningi kabi. I come from a generation which you can call baby boomers too. Those are people who are born in the 1950s. Yeah, baby boomers too. Or Zinenials, we've lived in 2 centuries. So kukhona baby boomers, there'll be very few in this room. Kukhona people who are called Generation Y, Generation Z, and they are in this room. And they were with us, and we learned something. The millennials, we learned something. Akade bekhuluma la program director herself, I think they are that generation. The centennials, abantwana laba kade becula nabafundi abaningi abakhona manje e-university. These are the young Mbogodos and young men who were born around the year 2000. They are in their early 20s now. So kuningi esikufundile from one another. And also isifundo sokuthi life is time and space bound. Ikhulumi zethu zosuku zibalulile lokho ikakhulukazi enkulumeni kaMathabethe that came out enkulumeni kaNdlunkulu ngesikhathi esihlaziyela kuqhamukile lokho ukuthi life is time and space bound. Bese hayi ngoba eNdlunkulu ngikuthatha kancane, but I think it's important ukuthi ekubongeni kwami ngigcine ngokubonga kuNdlunkulu uNtokozo kaMayisela, ngiswele imlomo inkulungwane ukubonga. Awubanga mude, uthe qapqap nje ngephoyisa, but you were very deep. Abakade bekulalele bazizwile izinto ozishilo. You were extremely deep. Your foresight and insight and your passion, not only for the girl child, but both for girl and boy child. Into engavamile nokusikhumbuza nje ukuthi akuthi uma uyintombazane kume lapho, uma umama kume lapha, kukhona la uxhantele khona futhi your role as women. And lokho kungikhumbuze umlando esonikwe udokotela mayelana na besifazane endlini nasebukhosini, how they were strong and what they did throughout generations. So logo kusemqoka ukuthi sikukhumbule your spirit of servitude. Ubonakala ukuthi asiqali manje into okhula nayo osuka nayo ekhaya, ungathi ubukhona uke wagxila kakhulu kuyona uMathabethe, and now wafika washayela isipikili. And it's very important ngoba imfundo yesikole ihamba yodwa ayisizi. Yiko nje ngesisikhathi ungabona kwesisikhathi umuntu enejazi elibovu, kodwa ngoba le yasekhaya imfundo ayikho, baze bathi abantu ngingcono ngingenajazi elibovu. So lo mlenze oyimfundo yasekhaya, oyimfundiso yasekhaya in the community is very important. In fact, mawusuphila usumdala isikhathi esiningi usuku uphila lokho owakufunda during your first 7 years. Ukubingelela ngeke ukufundiswe ngisho eStanford University, ngeke ukufunde eHarvard, ukufunda ekhaya. Yiko ngesisikhathi uthi uhlangana nengane mawubuthi awubingeleli ngani, angijwayele, iqinisile bandla ayijwayele ngempela. So kukhona izinto ukubonga, ukuxolisa, ukubulisa, izinto oyifunde ekhaya. There is no university which can teach you those things, but university can enhance those things. Siyabonga to remind us the importance of a home and Ndlunkulu. Humanity at large, kuyacaca ukuthi with your spirit of servitude, you are somebody, young as you are, who serves, who is sensitive to the service, to the nation, to the province, to the country, and humanity at large. Your faith, resilience, and non-judgmental attitude is amazing. Awuyena umuntu ojaja abantu, and we appreciate that. We feel safe. Nathi sibadala we feel safe. uNdlunkulu omncane okwaziyo ukuthi abantu abajajwa, you look into the other sides of a human being. I would also like, having said expressed our gratitude to our Queen, I would like to add this, this statement. I think it's very important that the current ANC-led government recognizes and respects our diverse kingdoms. We know what happens with governments in some instances where the first thing that happens is Zembe on kingdoms. But this government has not done that. It has, even constitutionally, the cultures are embedded in the Bill of Rights. Kulukhuni ukwakha izwe. Kungenzeka ukuthi kube namaphutha, but amaphutha kahulumeni azolunga ngokuthi nathi sibamba iqhaza ngoba akuyona into encane ukwakha izwe. But we are extremely grateful to this government, being a constitutional democracy, to also develop a constitutional, accept constitutional monarchies in the country. Thanks one more time for honoring us and for sharing with us. Sizophuma sabantu abahablile singcono namhlanje. Ngiyabonga. Thank you.
Bese ngikhumule nebhantshi ngithi ngizodla. Kodwa sengahijackwa ke manje. Ngiyodla. Oh, okay, all right. So there are 2 serving stations. There is a serving station at the back, and there is a serving station on the side. You invite all of you now to make your way table by table. Ukuze kube lula, kube ne-structure to go forth and eat. Also, please take this time to network amongst each other. In rooms where women gather, we need to learn about each other and know that we are different and everyone has someone to teach something. So speak to someone who you don't normally speak to, get to know someone you wouldn't normally know, and let's teach each other. Thank you.